Hi, everybody. Welcome to How to Make Money with Email. It's a mastermind similar to one that maybe you've taken before, or it's brand new, maybe. Um, Actually, this is a little bit different than I normally do these. It's wonderful that Raptives gives me the opportunity to come and talk with you all about email. This particular mastermind is focused on revenue generation. However, in order to make money with email, you have to understand the basics first. And if you're not doing the basics, then you're not going to be, you know how it goes. So we are going to talk about some of the basics, and some of that is going to be familiar to many of you. Um, we have a lot of people on this call with a lot of different experience. I was just going through the notes here. We have people with um, tens of thousands of email subscribers. We have people with a brand new list. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to help you with your particular situation. I commit to answer questions as best that I can, and then I will stick around at the end of each one and talk to you about your individual circumstance as well. The things that we're going to talk about kind of in this order over the next 5 days. It is a 5 day thing, but I'll go where you want me to go. But today we're going to talk about list growth because if we're not growing a list, we're not making any money at all. It's impossible to do anything with an email list that has nobody on it. We'll talk briefly about writing the emails tomorrow, about how to write emails, how I do it anyway. I mean, you got to do you, but you'll see my approach. On Wednesday, we will talk about what to send, how frequently to send, what that might look like in your particular uh, world. Everybody's got a little bit different situation. We will talk about automations. Are you using them? Are you using them the right way? Are you taking advantage of that so you don't have to work so hard? We'll talk about some of the cool ways that some of the cool tools that didn't exist perhaps last time we talked, as far as making your life easier for building out your emails and getting them cranked out and written. And then we'll talk on Thursday and Friday specifically about ways people are making money with email. So we'll go through a whole litany of ideas. You've probably been in my shoes before. Have you ever been in charge of one of these Zoom meetings? If you have, you know that the camera, me seeing your beautiful faces, even if it is a bad hair day, it just makes me happy and makes me realize that you're out there and I can read body language. If you are having a terrible hair day, well, all right, I get it. Once in a while, it makes sense to turn off the camera. That's just a personal ask if you feel up to it. Obviously, you do what feels comfortable and what's right to you. I'm not going to call on anybody that doesn't want to be called on. That's for sure. All right, let's get started. So, thank you all for being here, and we're going to talk very specifically about list growth today. So, before I do, I want to read to you some of the things that you all said to me that you're struggling with, okay? So that we know where this mastermind is going. I'm transitioning from just a blogger to a trusted brand who sells digital products. My list is trained to receive free content from me. So reshaping that relationship is something that I'm working on. Does that sound familiar to anybody? Is anybody else like that? Your comments go a long way too in the chat to help me understand where you're at as well. Staying consistent, okay? Just struggling to stay consistent. Coming up with topics, we'll talk about that. Would like to get back to doing a forever series, all right? Figuring out how to make more money without being too pushy or salesy, or increasing my unsubscribe rate. Uh, Getting a good open rate and then a good click rate. All right, we'll talk about some of that stuff too. Um, I would like to revamp my welcome series to get buy-in, engagement, and improve my open and click rate. I'm not very technical, so I struggle to embed the pop-ups or sign-ups into my site and create the evergreen and welcome series in a way that's easy for me to maintain. Okay, we'll talk about some of that. Not having enough new content to email multiple times a week. I already struggle with once a week. So would like to increase to steady twice per week. Haven't come up with a strong freebie just yet. Okay. growing my list. I've signed up for Grocers List and I try to grow it on Instagram. I struggle with click-through. When we send the regular emails with new or updated posts, nobody clicks. And it doesn't matter if it's sweet or savory. I assume that's a recipe website. We get more engagement when we send roundups. Unless we hide what we're sending, and then we have to click through to see what it is. They don't click. All right. We'll talk about open rates and click rates. We'll talk about specifically about food. I know a lot about that. What to do next? Okay, that's fair. Wherever you are, what's next? Because there's always more to do. Turning subscribers into buyers. We've heard that one a couple of times. Segmentation. Okay. Is anybody else interested in divvying up their list into multiple segments? All right, one or two of you. All right. How to increase subscribers and open rate? Should I run A/B tests? Kit is expensive. I'd like to know how I can at least make enough money to pay for it. That makes sense. Unsubscribes seem to be increasing more than signups, so my list is shrinking. And more of the same. I'm skipping over things. Time or a clone of myself. Well, that's perfect. I've got a whole session on how to clone yourself here. I've got a special serum that you drink, and it just takes care of it. Motivation, feeling burned out. Okay, did I miss any? Let me look at your yes. People are saying yes. All right, good. If there's anything in particular that I missed, I will call all of those. I will be handling all of those things as we go through this. All right, but you make sure that I do that if I don't. Okay. Thank you for being here again. My background, I've been working, for those of you who don't know, I think you all do, because we've at least chatted, I think literally all of us at one point or another. It's been a while, but I've been working with content creators since 2017 in doing email marketing. I now, aside from courses and doing these masterminds, I have a done-for-you services agency specifically for food bloggers with a lot of traffic. And so that has allowed me to, just stay current with what's working. You're going to hear me talk about Kit quite a bit. I know that most of you are on Kit. I just looked at the numbers. Those of you who are not, the good news is that the things that I'm about to share with you, you can do on almost any platform. And if you have specific questions about your platform versus what Kit can do or whatever, just ask me, and I'm happy to answer as best as I can, and we'll do that after, because you might run into that technical hurdle wall. I can't, on a mastermind like this, tell you the exact hows on all the technical things. I just can't. There's not time for it. And so in many cases, I don't actually know. And so if you are in that particular situation, I may be able to answer those technical questions with a little bit more time. And so just let me know where you're struggling, okay? For those of you who don't already have it, Raptive is giving you my course, Email on Autopilot, for free. So I think most of you already have it. If you don't, this is your one shot. It's this coupon code right here, and go ahead and grab that. If you don't have it, I would love for you to take advantage of it. Why do you need the course? Well, we're going to cover many of the practices that are in the course, but the course is it's a good refresher when we're not doing this together, and you can go back and look at the how-tos if you are wanting the very specific how to set things up. A lot of it is inside the course, okay? So go grab that if you don't have it yet. I don't think that I'm going to mention that again, so I'm leaving that up there for just a quick second. All right? Excellent. Here we go. Let's talk about list growth. Look, what are you doing that's working? Let's start there. And I am asking for participation. It's going to be hard. I'll call on you to unmute when it's time. Otherwise, it might be a little bit chaotic. But for most of our conversations, I'll be monitoring the chat here. So I know you're fast typers. What are you doing that's working in list growth? And then we're going to talk about them. All right? Before I go too far. All right. So save this recipe. Save this recipe is working great for food creators. It's like the one hack that we have in email marketing. If you are in food and you don't have Save This Recipe, let me know. Okay? So, my friends, Deborah, Leanne, you need to get it. There are a variety of ways that you can do that. First of all, do you know what it is? Are you familiar with it? A little bit. Okay, let me show you a quick example. It's worth spending these 60 seconds on for you. If you go to a website like this and you come here, you're going to see want to save this recipe. You enter your email address, and then Amy is going to send you a link a link to that recipe so that you can get to it later. The reason that seems to work so well and has worked for years now is people tend to use their inbox as their to-do list. And so you might be on your mobile device, you see these chimichangas, you're not really sure you want to make them right now, hang on to it. So you enter it here. As far as ways to get this set up, yes, Angela's got it right. If you're with Raptive, they will help you set it up using Slickstream. It is not the best implementation, but it is the freest implementation. If you want a little bit more flexibility with what you can do with it, you can either have a custom developer create it. I used to do it until everybody and their dog came out with it and started doing it, and just wasn't worth my time really. If you're one of my done for you clients, I'll set it up with custom code, but I don't do it outside of that. NerdPress has Hubbub that is a plugin that will do it as well, and it's a great. I mean, you want this, Deborah, Leanne, anybody else who's missing this. And if you're not in food, I know, Wilma, I think you're using it. I think you may have said, I use it on non-food websites as well. I just changed the messaging to save this article. It doesn't work as well as it does for food, but it's great. I'm not bagging on Slickstream at all. I want to be clear about that. Slickstream will do a wonderful job for you. It just doesn't have as many features as others have as far as setting that up and options. Okay, so if you wanted to, Hubbub NerdPress has a version called Hubbub that's a paid plugin, and if you're getting it built, getting your website built by people like Cultivate, they will set it up for you and yada yada. All right, so it's kind of table stakes now. All right, let me go all the way back up. I want to be clear, Slickstream is great. Use it, it's fine. That did not mean to, I was not besmirching them. They're just, you don't have a lot of options as far as what the emails look like when they are delivered, what's included, yada, yada, yada. That's Akita says that you can't customize it, and that's right. Okay, back up to what you said. What else is working? Grocers list. Okay, grocers lists. I'm not going to spend almost any time on grocers list or ManyChat. You have seen that on Instagram, left, right, and center. There are plenty of people on this call who are having great success with that. If you want just reverse engineer somebody like Pinch of Yum, what they're doing with theirs, and you can see how to use that. Now, there's a couple of things that I will tell you make it a lot easier, and we're going to get into those a little bit later, and that is to have some really killer lead magnets, okay? Beyond just the individual recipe that most people are using Grocers List for. All right, free printables for almost every post. Awesome. Yes, I know that is an important one for you. And printables can work wonderfully. I like to pair printables with the topic that I'm about to share with you in just a minute, that many of you already know about, which is the Quick Start Guide, but I like to combine those two together. Leanne's doing the Quick Start Guide. Great, we'll talk about that in just a minute. Pop-ups in general, I assume you're sending them to a lead magnet of some sort. Targeted pop-ups on content category. Great, we'll talk about that too. SVG cut files, right, Katie? Yeah, those are the best. Well, same kind of deal. The challenge that I find with printables is the grab and go nature of them, the very transactional nature of them. And what we want to do is turn the transaction into the next transaction and into the education and into the subject matter expert arena. So what you do beyond those I think, is the trick there. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment. Free printables, PDF freebies. I assume those are ebooks and things. Uh, I apologize in advance if I say anything disparaging about an ebook going forward, but I probably will. I have two enemies in life, zucchini and ebooks, and I don't know why those two just made it onto my mortal enemy list, but they just did. That's just how it worked out. What else? Da, 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 da. Okay, Print Pass for the Mediavine side, and Gated Print is Raptive's version of that. I hope for those of you who are in food, you took advantage of my webinar in the email and autopilot course. I hope that was helpful. If you need to, go back and you can hit me up and I'll send it to you. I'm not going to spend any more time on it here because I think I cover it pretty in depth there. The short version is that it works well, but you want to make sure that you master the user experience once they've signed up and that you are pruning your list fast of those people. Otherwise, they'll accumulate with a bunch of cold subscribers, and that's not great. All right, what did I miss? Link DM. I don't know what that is. Okay, that sounds interesting, though. Tell me what that is, if you don't mind. All right, it's like mini chat. Oh, okay, great. Awesome. All right, okay, we're going to cover some basics here. You all have it. You already know the fundamentals, so I'm going to go kind of fast. But because what we're going to do is I'm going to spend 10 minutes on the basics, and then we're going to open it up and talk about your individual circumstance, okay? It's going to be a little bit different, but we have to set the baseline and some definitions. All right, I'm going to jump ahead here. You've already seen this. I don't know if you remember my Goofy Martha examples. So meet Martha. She decides to make keto spaghetti. She goes to Google. She Googles it. She finds this website, Kicking Carbs, blah, blah, blah. Does she tell all her friends after she made this delicious spaghetti? No, of course not, because she just bounces. She's got life to live. She's got dreams to chase. So why is that? Because Martha's a jerk. No, not Martha. Martha's not a jerk. Martha's just busy, and she's in transaction mode. She searches the web the way that we all do. We go get the piece of information we need, and then we're off and on our way. Next time Martha gets hungry, what's going to happen? She's just going to do whatever she just did again. Chat GPT, Pinterest. Does that still work? Facebook groups. Does that still work? Or go to Google. So it comes down to this. The not so secret is that your existing traffic is your best source of list growth. If you are counting on these, it's time to graduate. It's time to level up. Martha doesn't want your newsletter. She doesn't want bonus giveaways. She doesn't want more recipes in her inbox. Martha just wanted some keto spaghetti that one time. So what do we do in that moment? We need to dangle a carrot that will entice her. And that's where the lead magnet comes in. All right, we call it an email hook. There's lots of different types of email hooks. Many of you are doing them. The problem that we have with most email hooks is that they take time or money or skill to create, AKA ebooks, anyone? And quite often they aren't that effective at attracting readers that become your super fans. When somebody downloads an ebook, for example, just picking on ebooks, and they do it on this device, where does it go? Do you even know? Where do you find it? Does anybody actually click on it? I dare you to check your stats. The answer is no. So we got them onto the list, but are they engaged? So that's where the whole concept of the Quick Start Guide idea comes in. Is this the first time anybody is hearing about a Quick Start Guide? Honest to goodness. Deborah? Okay, good. Thank you. So Deborah and others who need a refresher, the Quick Start Guide is simply a short series of emails that leads your newest readers to the most important content that you have to offer, okay? So the example that I have lovingly used for years is one of my very first blogging forays this is different than the Welcome series, and I'll explain how. My wife and I ranked number one for a while for Disney cruise tips on our website, Picture the Magic. What do I know about somebody that's Googling Disney cruise tips? Well, they're most likely going on a Disney cruise, and it's probably their first. Otherwise, why do they need tips? So, in that moment, when Martha Googles Disney cruise tips and lands on our website, she gets to the website and discovers all this great content. She's there long enough to consume it and discover that, oh, yeah, this is the right place for me. When she is invited to join What to Expect on Your First Disney Cruise, that hits her right where she's living and dreaming right now. Notice what this is not. Sign up for my updates about Disney cruising. Get my PDF about Disney cruises. Okay? This is what to expect on your first cruise. It's very specific. And it harkens to her motivation at the time. Now, the glory of this is that you get to use your existing content. You've all made it to Raptive levels, which means that you have content, a library of it, and you're probably not putting it to use as best that you can. You don't have to create anything new here. Simply use your existing content, put it together as a themed guide, and over the course of 3 to 5 days, deliver one email per day that discusses a topic related to that theme. Each one of these lessons drives them back to your channel of choice. I'm going to take you back to your website, take them back to your YouTube, take them back to your Instagram, wherever you want. The whole point is that now you're just taking Martha and saying, hey, look, I know that this is the next thing for you. The point of the 3 to 5 days in a row, she's given you permission to be in her inbox. You go from being an unknown transaction. Do you even remember, by the way, who offered up the keto spaghetti? It was Kicking Carbs, in case you didn't remember, but most people don't because they were just in the moment, right? So Kicking Carbs can tell Martha why, or how, solve her next problem for her. All right? When people are just getting started with a new topic, they want to get going fast, and you're doing them a huge favor when you make it something simple. That's it. All right? So 3 to 5 days in a row. One email per day. Now, this is where I need everybody who already has a quick start guide and thinks you already know this. I need you to come back to me now for a second. Because it's time. No matter how many of these you've done, it's time for you to do another one. I know that because I talk with you all every single day. I've never met a creator that has mastered this completely yet. And I have clients that do lots of quick start guides. Just keep this in mind. Your existing traffic is your best source of list growth. What problem can you solve for that person that's coming to your website right now, or to your Instagram, or to your TikTok, or to your YouTube, or wherever it may be? This is how I want you to think about creating your next quick start guide. If not quick start guide, your next lead magnet, okay? This right here. What's your biggest channel right now? Not historically, right now. Last 90 days is good. What are your highest traffic drivers as far as posts or pages or recipes or articles or categories? And then why did they come there? This is the hard part. Think through the motivation. And what's at the core of their problem, and what do you have that you can offer to help? Think back to the Disney cruise tips. When I take that moment on a Disney-related website, and instead of just doing something general about Disney, I focus on that individual. This is how we increase our conversion rates. And for those of you who have a successful quick start guide, it's time to make the next one. Okay? I know you've already done it. Should I do it every day? All right, you might be the exception. All right, follow along with me and see what works for you. Um, all right, there's lots of different examples here. Okay, it doesn't have to be just food. I'm going to share with you a bunch of food, but this is one from a few years ago, the Happy Chicken Coop. Remember when there was that whole, well, it was like, what, 3 egg shortages ago? Everybody at one point decided that they were going to raise their own chickens. And ta-da, raising healthy chickens. They crushed it for a while with this thing. During the pandemic, killer copycat recipes worked great for favorite family recipes. It actually still works well for them, but it worked particularly well then. Sometimes it's just on the nose related to the topic, the category that you have. 5 days of slow cooker classics. It's not overly complicated here. Sometimes you just focus on the season. Sometimes you on a type of food. In this case, we had Jessica had a DIY website. What are you to do with somebody that wants to fix their toilet or needs a different person that needs to paint color? Well, what does she know about that individual? What's the motivation? They are willing to pick up a hammer and paintbrush. They're willing to do it themselves, and they save some money in the process. So 5 secrets to transform your home on any budget was effective at helping those weekend warriors. Okay? Now, I want to remind you of this example. If you've heard this before, this still is a great example. So Ralphie from Simply on Purpose, when I worked with her, she did not have a website and she did not have an email list. So when she was getting started, she launched with something called No Yell Week. She's a parenting expert, and so she had a challenge to invite all her parenting people who wanted to be better parents to not yell at their kids for a week. Imagine that. Impossible. So what she made is a series like why we yell, why it doesn't work, and what to do instead. She launched this for a week. She talked about it in her stories. She talked about it in her posts. This was the landing page that we made. It took 3 minutes to make that, maybe 2.5. And she went from 0 subscribers to 20,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. She was getting incredible email engagement. If you know anything about email metrics, it's fantastic engagement. And this is what the email looked like. Lesson number 2, 3 long-term effects of yelling. 1, 2, 3. At the end, for a video on the negative effects of yelling, click the picture. How long did she spend on picking that picture? Not very long. She did not Photoshop that a whole lot. Guess where this takes you when you click on this? It takes you back. It still does, by the way, today. It takes you back to a highlighted story, one of those little bubble thingies on Instagram. So you with me? The Instagram user, she said, sign up for this free thing. She delivers them the free thing that just brings them right back to, via email, that brings them right back to Instagram, right where they were the whole time. It's always been there. They were right there. And they love it. Now, you don't even have to write as much as this. Let me show you an example of this. So Sugar-Free Londoner, she's got 30-minute keto meals. Did someone say keto and quick? Look at these wonders. My fastest and best. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it's just recipes, right? It's not complicated. Here's the thing. Martha doesn't care yet. We're taking Martha from not knowing who you are to trying your next thing. It's just a conversation that's happening, and we're just extending it naturally. Okay? Does everybody understand the concept? Who's ready for a new quick start guide? Now, by the way, why do I love this so much? When in this world of Save This Recipe and Print Pass and gated print and all these other things, those techniques are wonderful. Those will come and go. What I hear from most of you right now is We are worried about the impact of AI on our business. We can't rely on Google as much as we used to. SEO is not as gameable as it once was. What does this mean? Newsletters go back now to being what they once were, a mechanism for us to tell an audience why we care about them, why they should care about us, and how we can serve them. Email becomes more important communicating who you are from a brand perspective. We have this traffic. We have just a moment of time. And over the course of 5 days, you have a chance to communicate why you're special. Now, I'm not doing that in the welcome series format. You can have your welcome series. I don't know if anybody has ever worked with me, has ever heard me tell them that they needed to build a welcome series. I'm not against welcome series. It's probably a blind spot for me, honestly. But what I am a proponent of is serving your audience with the next thing, because they don't care about you yet. We don't care about the names of Taylor Swift's cats until we've heard Blank Space on the radio a few thousand times. Okay? We just don't. That's just how it is. And so in a world chock full of really good creators and a bunch of wannabe creators, how do you stand out? You stand out by serving. And how do you serve? That's through your content that solves their next problem. Okay? So you can, of course, and you should, introduce yourself. But I suggest doing it briefly, or I suggest doing it down in the footer of these quick start guides. Explaining who you are and what you stand for, you're going to be doing that by solving their problems. When I watch one of Rick Steves' travel videos, I don't need his whole backstory. When he tells me how he likes to get lost in the streets of Venice, by him explaining that and what to do, I'm learning about Rick as we go. Does that make sense? So the more that you serve, the faster you will become a subject matter expert in their mind. For my food creators, I don't believe that you have any sort of audience or brand loyalty until they've made the second or third recipe from you. That's Matt Molinisms. The first time is a happy accident. You got lucky on a Google transaction or whatever search transaction it was. The second time, maybe they remember who you were. By the third time, now they're going, oh man, Whitney, she's my food creator. I love everything Whitney puts out. All right? You know this from your own behavior. I have a 21-year-old daughter who lives with me, and it's great, her and her husband, and they cook for us. And because I know so many food creators, I always love to ask them where tonight's recipe's from. They can never tell me. It makes me sad. They've recently fallen in love with Melissa from Modern Honey. I'm like, you know she lives 2 miles that way, right? So it's like, it's a little discovery for them, but they're on recipe number 6 of the Modern Honey before they figure out that they are a big fan of Modern Honey. All right? We need to serve them, and sending is serving in this world. All right. Okay, I've rambled enough. Oh, no, I haven't. One more thing. One of the reasons that I love this so much too is you will see this technique used everywhere. You will see it from the LinkedIn bros or the Twitter bros, okay? You will see this as this is what they do. They create series to communicate their points, and it is the first deliverable from the newsletter. It trains them on opening and clicking your stuff. You become a subject matter expert fast. And you can use it with all the other techniques that we're talking about. Printables. My favorite trick for an ebook, if you have an ebook, is to offer the ebook because it can be a very effective hook. And then in email number one, say, as promised, here's your such and such ebook. And over the next 5 days, I'm going to deliver you more great awesomeness related to the topic. And then you just take the recipes or articles that were in the ebook and you make them actually clickable in email form. You'll never get a complaint. And they feel like I got this bonus of this PDF. You can do the same thing with crafts. Here's the promised craft. And by the way, here are 3 more crafts that you can do with your Cricut that are related to it. You can create quick start guides that lead after each printable. If you're doing Grocer's List or ManyChat, some of the most effective ones that are out there right now that anybody are doing are quick start guides. Go to Pinch of Yum and look at their most viral recipes. It's pinned in their Instagram, and it's simply a quick start guide. They're not a client. I just admired the way that they implemented it, okay? So every one of all these other strategies, the reason I come back to this is that this is something that is not hacky. This is something you can control. And you can do it for every topic that you have on your website. Okay. Who wants a quick start guide? Is anybody struggling with this concept or needs a free one? Because I'm giving away free ideas today only. Deborah, I saw you raise your hand. You want to unmute?
Hi. So in the past, I've done the PDF, or maybe you call it an ebook, and they've been categorized like it would be 5 quick and easy vegan dinners or 5 easy vegan breakfasts or whatever. I'd pick the category. Um, and I think that's great. But then in my welcome series, I don't know if I've lost that group because I didn't keep giving breakfast recipes or dinner recipes, but instead I was like, let me pick one great, fabulous one from each category. Now I'm going to send them a soup. Now I'm going to send them an appetizer. Now I'm going to, right?
Right.
So would you say if you have many different types of food on your site, but you know that the majority of the Google people that are finding you are coming for dinner, let's say, those are your more popular recipes. Would you say that doing the quick start guide, that's all that, rather than broadening out a little bit, is the way to go?
I think you can probably guess. So I want you to think about it, and this is for everybody, in terms what email can do that your other platforms can't do very, very well is they can follow the journey. They can create and follow a journey. So if somebody came in for soups, let's just use that example. The one thing we know about them, or maybe the 2 things we know about them, is that they were interested in soups and maybe they're vegan. So with that knowledge and your content libraries over here, what can you best pull from that library that will serve them most effectively? You're taking a shot. You're taking a gamble. Now, the broad, I don't have a lot of time approach is just say, let me just serve you vegan stuff. That's a reasonable thing to do. But in the case of soup, your odds go up dramatically if over the next 3 or 4 days, while they are thinking about soups, you hit them with a quick start guide that has more options for them.
And would you recommend, rather than the quick start guide being a pop-up on everything, I also have like footers on the bottom of the different categories. So if you were on the salad category, you would get the 5 best salad dressings. If you were on the dinner, you'd get something, right?
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
so do you do multiple quick start guides on different categories?
Yep. Absolutely. Categories and seasons. Those are your 2 easiest places to go. So for many of the folks that are on here have already created, maybe in the past, maybe you made a quick start guide and you've been living with it for some time and it was fine. And you've been thinking about what to do next. Well, I want you to lean into the next season if you aren't sure about categories. What's the next season for you? Well, the next season for most of my food creators and even my crafters is fall, right? We're staring that in the face. I can't even believe it. I can't believe it at all. Um, 2 weeks ago, I was in Marshall's and they had Halloween stuff everywhere. It's gross. Um, anyway, but that's where we are. So leaning into that, seasonality matters a lot. So you could take a general approach. Let's just use the vegan example. 5 secrets to cooking the world's most delicious vegan meals. All right, let's say that was your quick start guide. What if you said 5 secrets to cooking the most delicious vegan meals of fall? Because they are in fall, they will now all of a sudden convert better. Right? It's going to happen. And that's why my Done For You Services agency, one of the services that we provide is we create and manage a different lead magnet every single month for the general site wide. All right. It's literally different every month. So take that if you want to think about how you can be doing this better. And then to your point, Deborah, salad is going to outperform other, when you know more about them, you know that they're into salad. Okay, great. Your likelihood of serving them more salads makes a lot of sense. This is true for air fryer. This is true for Cricut. This is true for crochet. This is true for macrame. I still don't know what macrame is. I just really like saying macrame. It's true for keto, Blackstone, Uni pizza ovens, you name it. Disney cruise, Disneyland, Disney World, Alani. That's what I did with the Disney site. Disney tattoos, Disney fonts. These are different people with different needs, and you'll convert better. We are now, if you want to grow your list and you feel like you've been doing all the things and you're on this call with me, now's the time to chase conversion rate.
Matt, quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
You were saying each month you change the lead magnet, and I'm guessing obviously there's a different quick start guide each month, but would you use the same one from last August, this August, or are you having them change it every
Yeah, if it
August?
worked. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So like let's say you nail Thanksgiving. We don't need to keep reinventing Thanksgiving.
right.
But that's the glory of it is that now you may find that you could even, I mean, if I'm really getting particular, I think you have better things to do with your time, but you could say, I can hone this, or I can create a Thanksgiving for vegan versus non-vegans. I can create and actually that's a really good idea. But you know what I mean? You could be too particular probably with the segmentation, but most people never get there.
Okay. Yeah, I have a back to school and I was just going to go into the analytics and see like which ones got the most click-through rates and then replace the lowest ones, but try to just use that series again.
Yeah, yeah, great. Um, Also, another little piece of advice on that for all of you who have your quick start guides now, what you have may be working just great. All you may need to do is hit duplicate in Kit or whatever program you're using and change it to be fall or back to school or Mother's Day or whatever and use the same. If the theme is working and resonating, generally it's probably going to work and resonate even more narrowly. All right, questions over here. Um, oh yeah, okay. So if you're using Grocer's List for the save option to get recipes for the DMs, can you explain the technical way they get them to a quick start guide? The gist of it is that you're just sending them to a landing page. So like over that landing page I showed you with Ralphie Jacobs with Simply on Purpose, it's something similar. You can make that in Kit or in Flowdesk. I think you're on Flowdesk, right? So I think you can make a separate landing page in Flowdesk that will then direct them to they're signing up for a different quick start guide. Okay. Anybody else stuck where you kind of get the idea, but it's just never worked for you? All right. What new ideas do you have? What quick start guides are you going to make that you weren't going to make before? Or are you just hearing me out going, okay, I've heard this before and I'm not actually going to do it? I stumbled on it.
So I have a question. So let's say I say I'm going to do the quick start guide for 5 vegan soups for fall, and I figure out some miraculous way to set it up in Kit, and then I don't have them go to what currently is the Welcome series. So now we're done with the 5 great recipes that I promised them over 5 days. Then what? Do they just then join my regular email list? And where would be the easiest dumbed down how-tos for me to figure out how to do that? That's what I worry about most, that
Yeah.
I'll have the idea and I won't actually know how to implement it.
Are you using Kit? You said Kit.
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
the email and autopilot course that you now have access to that perhaps you didn't before will walk you
Yeah.
through exactly how to set up a pop-up in Kit.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you, by the
Okay,
way,
good.
if you're doing pop-ups and you have Kit and you're not using my guide for pop-ups, you really need to go look at that because I invested in custom CSS so that it is much more mobile friendly. I never
And
used
that
to use
pop-up,
Kit.
the
Sorry?
pop-up how-to is the pop-up how-to is in the email on autopilot course.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Okay,
you'll find it in
perfect.
there.
Thank you.
Um, but I had to create a version that would work on mobile a certain way so it didn't show image, so that it wouldn't take up so much of the screen, so it'd be much more mobile friendly. So you might want to go steal that from me if you haven't taken advantage of that, if you're a Kit user. So all those technical things will be there. All right, so we've got people making seasonal quick start guides, great. Grilling one, smart. If you have specialized situations, and to Deborah's point, they will then be added to your list. You can decide, and we'll talk about this in one of the next couple of days. What do you do with the segments once they're on the list? Let's say Jasmine creates a grilling quick start guide. What is she going to do with them? She has choices now. Does she just, after they've completed the 5-day series or however long it is, do you just drop them into the general newsletter, or do you do something specific with them? And so those are the choices that you get to make. And again, we're thinking about this in terms of a journey. And that's the glory of email marketing automation, is that you can create this journey. Carolyn is what? Oh, I thought we were friends. No, it's okay, Carolyn. There's a whole universe of mentally deranged people out there that actually like zucchini. So serve them. They need you. And make seasonal quick start guides. Back to school, good. Mine is currently popular blog posts in niche. I know that you've got a little bit of a different situation than what we've been talking about here. I like creating a new one every month, so I like my quick start guide up all year long on that category of posts. So if they can always sign up for my quick start guide, even if it's February. Yeah, especially in crafts, right? Like, because you're creating that for a very specific reason. So that makes a ton of sense. People that are in your quick start guide, do you also send them your regular emails, or do you filter them out not to spam them twice on one day? Great question, Wilma. Yeah, you can do both. So, by the way, little hack here. If you get into creating more quick start guides, which I hope that you will, don't make it mandatory, but invite your existing subscribers to join it. So let's use Jasmine's case. Jasmine can go to her list and say, hey, everybody, I made a thing. It's a quick start guide on grilling. And if you want it, click here. Then you can use something like a link trigger inside the email that automatically adds them to that automation. Now, Jasmine, in that case, and to Wilma's question, what I tell those people is these are bonus emails that will be sent in addition to the regular stuff. If somebody discovers the pop-up on your website, this happens all the time too. You have a regular reader that comes back to the website, they discover a pop-up, they're already on the list, but they do want that new seasonal quick start guide. I just let it happen, Wilma. Now there are ways that you can set up tags so that basically once everybody graduates after a quick start guide, you can then set a tag that says they're on the newsletter. And then you could exclude the emails from being sent to people when they have the newsletter. So there's different ways that you can handle that from a tag perspective if you want to do it that way. But like Jasmine said, I don't filter them out and haven't had any issues yet. Usually those folks that are raising their hand and signing up for another thing from you are happy to get the other thing from you. But I think that's a reasonable question. My niche is gardening. I'm thinking 5 reasons why your gardening isn't thriving or something along those lines. Now, Amy, in your particular case, the seasonality is hugely important, right? I'd really be thinking about on a monthly basis what the right thing might be from gardening or the different types of content that they're landing on. If you can make smart segmentation, I don't, you know, the reason I don't like zucchini is the reason I don't have a garden. My parents had a bunch of land growing up, and we had all sorts of orchards and fruit trees and vineyards, and zucchini was the thing that just didn't stop growing. And my mom made us pick it, and my mom made us eat it. And I'm convinced it was in an era when you didn't know how to do anything but just make stewed zucchini. So anyway, I'm scarred for life. It's my mother's fault. Anyway, how did I keep coming back to zucchini issues? Things to plant in the fall would be great. How to close your garden for next year. How to keep weeds down. I mean, look at all these options. That's my husband's story. Okay, I'm using his baseball bats. All right, your husband and I want to hang out with that guy. He sounds like an awesome dude. All right, another little trick here. None of you will do this, okay? But this is for my most aggressive of you, my most curious, or my most desperate. Here's a little secret. You don't actually have to have the emails written in order to create the pop-up. You can publish the pop-up, see if anybody signs up, and then create the quick start guide. If you're not quite sure on the hook, you can experiment with the hooks. Look, is Martha going to be tremendously upset if she was in transaction mode, she lands there and she checks it out, and then that quick start guide doesn't come for a long time? You didn't promise it was going to happen right away. Look, I know that may not be super popular idea. Of course, you want to deliver what you promise to your people. But I'm just saying that if you need to get into the tactics of, you just really need to find out what hook works best, put out multiple hooks and see what people sign up for. All right. Who else is stuck? Is anybody else stuck? Your homework assignment. And let me show you this email one more time. We're not writing a welcome series. We're not writing a book. I want you to bang out a quick start guide like this. A new one. And I want you to do it today. You can grab these topics. Come on. You've already got it. You've already got all the zucchini posts. Are you going to do zucchini muffins or zucchini for breakfast, zucchini for lunch, zucchini for dinner? I don't know what the heck these topics are going to be. I can't even imagine. Zucchini for torture devices. That one actually, that's an email you could probably put together. But each one of those, you already have the content. Let's get this into a Google Doc. If you are stuck and you don't know how to write these, write them this way. I'm telling you exactly how to write these. You don't have to, of course. It's got to be your voice. But if you're stuck and you just want to get going fast, you want a shortcut. Hi, Matt. Welcome to day one of insert title here. Over the next 5 days, I'm going to share with you something that solves your problem. Let's start here. My fastest and best keto recipes. Who knew low carb could be this tasty and speedy? Like one sentence after a subheader, and then list your articles or your recipes. Can you do that? I know you can. ChatGPT can do it for you if you have to. All right? Come on. You signed up for this thing for a reason. If you want to make money, here's how it goes. This is the formula. The people who are actually making any real money with email are doing this. First, they are aggressively growing their list. That's today's topic. Second, they serve their list often. What does that mean for you? I'm not sure, but it's probably more frequently than you're currently emailing. Just guessing. If you're in food, you can be emailing all the way up to daily. I have a client that sends twice a day, so you can't tell me that it's not that you're going to scare somebody away. I don't know what it is with crafts. Sorry, Wilma. I just don't know how much yarn somebody can consume without wanting to wrap it around you. But it's probably more than you think. Third, they're getting more clicks back to their website and they're making more money from Raptive. Okay? This is the first secret of making more money, is getting more clicks. Send more, get more clicks. And then fourth, they are selling something, or they're selling something for somebody else. I just oversimplified the whole thing right there, but that's it. So if you're if you're in that chain at all and you want to make more money, then we need to do more at those stages. Okay? So for today's homework assignment, I'm asking you to make a new quick start guide. And why? Because I want you to make lots of them. But I need you to make one first, and I want you to do it as fast as you humanly can. We are overthinking this stuff. You're worried about the logo. You're worried about exactly how to say it. You're worried about the technology. You're worried about the format. You're worried about the layout. It could be plain text and it would work. So I'm giving you permission to make it simple and stupid if you have to. Let's go. Will you do that? Somebody wake up Leanne and tell her what I just said. The poor woman has been up all night. Okay. With that, I'm going to wrap. That's your homework assignment. Tomorrow, I will be going through your emails if you want to share them, and I'll give you my 2 cents on how I'm writing emails today. It's changed a little bit. Oh, questions here. Things got ahead of me. I'll answer the questions though. Literally have 0 zucchini recipes on you. Yes, recipe for awesomeness. People don't read, they skim. That's right. Wait a minute. Who's giving me homework? What are you trying to do here? I have to go make zucchini? Do I recommend using images? We usually get more clicks if we do not use images. Okay. So this is a complicated one. The simple answer is you're right. In all of my tests, not all of them, most of my tests, if you exclude the images, you will get more clicks. However, with the Quick Start Guide, I'm trying to do a little bit of branding here too. You've invested heavily in your photography. We want to convince Martha that you're the craft creator for her. I do think that this is not tangible. This is not backed by data. It's more my feeling and my gut. And so I try to share some images in the Quick Start Guide. I do, however, have regular emails in the newsletter, both for food and others, that don't have any images at all for the reason that you just mentioned. They tend to get more clicks. So my answer to that is try it. I see the most successful crochet designers email at least 4 times a week and sometimes even more. Let's talk about that. What function does a crochet designer serve? I would argue that the biggest function is inspiration. Here's what to make and knowing that you can do it. Now, I see that come across and I want to crochet more in my life. I just can't today. I'm going to save that one for when I can. My father-in-law, he passed away this year, but his main love in life, aside from his dashing son-in-law, was woodworking. That man would read blueprints that he was never going to make. He just loved reading about it. If he wasn't in the shop doing it, and after he lost use of his hands, he would still read about it and dream about it. I think, Wilma, that's probably what you're seeing as well, and Tanya too. I'm tempted to restart my subscribers into the beginning of my Forever series and start a second Forever series. It'll be a third one email each week. I'll talk about that when we get to the Forever series, but yes, I would definitely do that. Okay. Look, we're at the top of the hour. Man, this felt a little bit chaotic. It wasn't in my normal Normally, I'm much more organized, people. So I hope you got something out of this. But your main homework, I really hope, is that you'll go make a quick start guide. If you have any questions, if you're stuck at all, please, 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 please unmute and let's talk right now. Otherwise, get out of here. Go write some emails. We will see you tomorrow. If you are brave and you feel like it, put it in a Google Doc that you can share with me tomorrow, and I'll rip it to shreds in the most loving way possible. Okay? All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Any questions? Go ahead, unmute.
Hey, so okay, here's my situation right now. I've lost a lot of traffic from Google, right? And so my subscribe rates are like way down, but there's also way less traffic coming to my site,
Right.
right? So like I know you've said, obviously, like your best, bet at getting new subscribers is the people already coming to your site. But when you have a lot less people coming to your site, it's harder to grow the list, right? So that's why I'm using Grocers List and trying to get them, from Instagram to come over. But I had an idea. It's a little wild, but I was very curious to hear what you think. This is the desperation time, right?
Okay.
I see obviously the future of being sustainable is to have this engaged audience. I used to do a lot of speaking engagements. I spoke at my college. I did in-person things a lot. I did a ton of like news segments. I haven't done any of that stuff in years. But my thought was, I always have people that are on my email list that say, "Oh, I've been following you since I saw you speak here," or "I saw you on TV here," or whatever, right? And so I just feel like they're more engaged because they know me better. So I've thought about doing like a little speaking tour where like I'm not necessarily doing a cooking class or something like that, but basically if they give me their email address, it's free, right? And I teach them how to, because my entire concept on my site is easy recipes with bold flavors, seasonings, marinades, sauces to amp up the flavor of your food, right? So like here, if you make these like 10 seasoning blends, you can make all your meals for the month taste better in, 20 minutes, whatever. And I can kind of go do that anywhere. The problem is obviously like that's a lot of time, effort, money if I'm traveling, right, to get maybe 100 subscribers or something. Like, do you even think that's worth it, or is this just a wild?
Okay. So I have a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
First of all, I love the idea. Before I get there,
Yeah.
let's address the diminishing traffic situation.
Yeah.
These tactics that I'm sharing with you, these are the same ones that I use with bloggers that have 10 million page views or those that have 1,000 page views. You're just going the other way, all right, than where you want to be going.
Right.
But this is all about, because the traffic, and the traffic may be a podcast. The traffic may be your speaking audience. You have to have a way to hook them. So whoever they are, if you're standing in line at a grocery store, if you're preaching at the corner of Hyde Park, right? You got to have a way so that you can continue the conversation, and having the email hook, the lead magnet, something to offer. This is a tried and true principle that predates Raptive, that predates Kit. This has been around a long time. So what we're talking about here is thinking about conversion rate. Whitney, I would exhort you, I would admonish you with all intensity that I have, is find one that you can hit duplicate and do it for as many categories as you can, as fast as you can. Dedicate a Saturday to doing a batch work. All right? And literally don't worry too much about all the details, but just bang them out. Do one for fall, then do one for slow cooker, do one for make ahead meals, you right? Everything that you can think of that you can take a general theme and then you can bump, bump, bump. And so when people are coming into your website, the traffic that you do have, you are putting it as something as hooky as possible in front of them. So that's number one, or number two, whatever it was. So number three or number four, back to your speaking engagement idea. I think where you're going with that, that's more of a business strategy. Who's Whitney what you want to be when she grows up kind of thing. And email supports that.
Yeah.
I love it if that's your superpower, that's what's going to make you stand out, and that's what you're going to be doing. If in the world of, if the decision-making matrix says, how do I grow my list fastest, and that's the only consideration, then no, that's not the fastest. And it's the most expensive, most time-consuming way that you can probably think of. However, if you are looking to establish yourself as a subject matter expert and get back on the speaking tour, get those chops re-energized again, then having the hook when you're in front of an audience that then will extend that experience to the next audience and the next audience and the next audience, that is a really wise approach. So how's that for a non-answer?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the feedback. I guess my thought is always I've done enough of your courses and heard you speak enough. Like, yeah, I still remember when you were talking about like giveaways, right? And like those are not people that are going to stick around. So I guess like what I'm looking for is more like getting more raving fans. Like if I
Yeah.
only had 20,000 people on my list, but they all opened, every email and clicked on every email, like I wouldn't care, right? Because
Okay.
it's like those are 20,000 raving fans. They're going to tell other people. So I guess that's really when I'm thinking about like the future of my email list growth. It's like I know that if I put a pop-up that says like free meal plan and giveaways, I'm going to get a ton of people to sign up. But like, do they really care about me? Are they going to stick around? Are they going to click? Are they going to be loyal? Probably not.
Yeah.
But if I meet someone in person, there's this different connection, and they're probably going to follow me for a lot longer, tell more people, and grow a more loyal, authentic list.
Yeah.
But I know it's just a lot more time. So it's hard to like balance the time.
Let me break that apart, what you just said.
Okay.
I heard you talk about two different things in one voice. You kind of put the list growth and the list nurturing together as one thing when they're actually not. They're actually separate things. So I would argue, playing devil's advocate here, that you haven't dug in and done the hard work, like I was talking about, of creating as many lead magnets to where you're like, I have so many lead magnets. What are you talking about, Matt? I'm in front of I'm serving the Disney cruiser, and I'm serving the Disney World person, and I'm serving the Disney tattoo artist. When you get to that point, the next, well, before then, but for the sake of my example, the next part of nurturing them, when you think about that journey, when you think about the person who wants to do bold spices, are they a beginner? Are they advanced? Are they doing Tex-Mex? Are they doing make-ahead meals? Are they doing back to school? Are they baking? What are they doing? You have whatever makes you special, the way you talk and you do speaking engagements. The next step is how do we translate that into your emails? Your video, you could have videos and emails. You could have you could have animated GIFs that are just hilarious, that are meme style. You could do whatever makes Whitney Whitney, but like imagine it was the only platform. This is the problem, is that it's not. This is not the case. But imagine it's the only platform that you had to build for. You would come up with the creative ways that make Whitney Whitney, that would nurture that list. For now, for today, what I just suggest is you've said, okay, look, I'm going to grow the list bigger and faster because I have to, because the other channels are disappearing or whatever's happening. All right, so now I'm going to at least do the segmented lead magnet idea. If you started there, while you're doing that, you will, and then when you devote some effort to it and think about it in the shower and whatever, you're going to think about, you know what, this is how I make this special. Every time they get an email from me, it's going to feel like Christmas because it's going to be this fun video and it's going to be, I have one client. Okay. So one of my clients, her name is Julie. Julie came up with this thing. She has got a whiteboard and she writes a motivational message on the whiteboard and she emails daily. She's a recipe blogger. She emails daily. And then at the bottom of it, she inserts a different motivational message that she's taken of her holding up the whiteboard. Some are funny, some are cute, some are motivational. And her audience just loves that. It's a small thing, but she's done 300 of them now. So there's just all sorts of different ways that you can lean into that part of it. Man, I'm talking too much.
No.
Did that make sense?
Yeah. Basically, like adding more personality into the actual emails. And I've been trying to do that. I took a tip from Molly, and like she includes, and I noticed Lindsay Pinch of Yum also does it, like includes the recipe, but then has like a photo, like a real life photo of that recipe, like them like eating it at the dinner table, right? So,
Right.
and they said they've gotten really good engagement from that. So I've been trying to like take more, ugly pictures of my dinner on my cell phone to send to people. I guess that works.
Yeah, yeah. Just separate those two thoughts in your mind, though: list
Yeah,
growth
yeah.
and how to nurture them,
Okay.
and then focus on those as separate tasks.
Yeah.
All right. Did I have any
Thank you.
more? Anybody else have a question? Shauna.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Before I get into my question, I want to help Whitney.
Oh, great.
I'm another food blogger, and I think like listening to you, it here's to me it sounds like your strengths are being able to do public speaking, being in front of the camera. So I'm listening to all of this and all I'm thinking is like, girl, get a YouTube channel together because that's going to grow your reach so much faster than doing one engagement. I mean, maybe you're connecting with a couple hundred people, but when you grow that YouTube channel, you can connect forever, or even a podcast or something like that, or a Substack where you have like a series of whatever you want to teach them. I mean, we even thought about doing some like live cooking classes for more engagement and things like that. But I think because you are so strong in front of the camera, I would put your face anywhere that they can see it. And then even like attach that into your email, like Matt was saying. I think that that's really genius because it's engaging. I mean, the fact that you like that,
Yeah.
I don't like that, but I do it. But since you're a natural at it, I would lean into that. So that's that. I just think that like try some other platforms where your face is shown, even doing lives on Instagram if you have a following on Instagram. And if something works, it's going to start to grow for you. You just don't know what that thing is yet. So I would try them all. That's all I wanted to say about that. But I totally feel like you're onto something and it's special and unique for you. And I would just try everything until one of those things works.
And our most loyal subscribers seem to be coming from YouTube, probably because they've like watched a whole video of us talking to them. Like it seems like the people that are staying around and opening everything have come from YouTube. We haven't looked into like the full data of it, but that could be a good way to like engage them more with you.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Matt, back to you. I have a couple questions. Like since your last class, we have like dove into email hard, and I can't thank you enough for everything that you've taught us. And we're constantly just growing and changing. We're doing the guides all the time, and we're like what we're now doing is when we come out with a new recipe, we'll like whatever. We just did a Ninja Creamy protein thing. So we literally looked at all the recipes we had on our site, we turned it into a guide. Now that's going into our YouTube video. So we're showing them how to make it, plus we're telling them about the guide. So we're really doing that. But for something specifically like that, we've shortened that to like, because the Ninja Creamy only had like 6 recipes, we shortened it into like a 1-day guide with a quick intro on us. But we do have other guides that are like 4 or 5 days. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts were on that, as well as my other question was, because it's like such a crazy time right now and all of the traffic is coming from the website, and website, we're not sure what's going on with website. I'm just curious if there's like a graph on from 0 to 10,000, from 10,000 to 20,000, from 20,000 to 50. Like I want to get to 100,000 subs and I want to know how long that's going to take me. So those are my questions.
Hmm. That's
And
going to
I'm
take,
hustling hard on
that's
all
going
of
to,
this.
that's going to take 249 and a half days and 3 hours. That's exactly what the math says.
No, no, no. But I'm wondering because you work with all these other,
Look,
you're doing
here's,
email for people that have started that are huge. Like,
yeah,
is there a point where once you get to 100,000, now you're at 200,000? Once you're at 200,000, are you at 300,000? Like,
it totally
I,
depends. The answer is like with most things with marketing, there's too many variables for me to answer that. Like I don't know all your traffic sources. I don't know the viral nature of your content. I don't know the shareability of your newsletter, all of those things. What I can tell you is that the exercise that you're going through right now, while you're getting your hustle on, you're already seeing the benefit of that. And it's getting easier and easier, I imagine, to create these lead magnets because you've got a process for that now. Those are going to, by the way, those are now assets that when you launch on whatever new whiz-bang platform you move into, you've got all of these that feel like, hey, let me offer you this instead of let me offer you this for your email address. The answer is I don't know how long it will take you. All I can tell you is that what I have seen, I've seen the movie, and it has a happy ending. You are building in the same way that eating your vegetables will make you stronger. I can't tell you exactly how long you'll live, but you'll live longer because you're eating your vegetables. So I guess what I would say is just trust the process. What you've seen so far is likely to continue. You're probably going to get a lucky break here and there too that'll pop it up to a next level. And one of them might take off and you might start getting chunks at a time where all of a sudden you get 10,000 subscribers off of one video hits. I mean, we just don't know. So I don't have everybody's journey is very different. So,
But I think like that's where like when we're adding these guides to things that are constantly growing, we're seeing them coming in every day.
Yeah.
The frustrating part though is that yes, we are dialing in and we are working hard, but it's like that day that you have something on Discover and you get 500 times more emails. It's like, oh my God, like can we just get some more traffic so that we can
Sure.
get this there faster? So I think that gets a little I'm grateful because I see that everywhere we place that email, it's not just coming from one source, it's coming from
Right.
20 sources. And the
That's
more
right.
sources we grow, the more they grow. I'm
Yep.
just hoping that as the ball goes rolling, that gets magnified bigger, but it
I think
just
it will.
gets a little frustrating sometimes.
Look, that's the content hamster wheel that we're all on. You guys work so hard. I get it. But I keep at it. I want to address. There's a question in here. Angela put in, I think, a question that might be. Is Angela even still here? She may have left. Maybe I should save it for tomorrow. Oh no, there's Angela. Hi. Okay. Uh, so everyone's facing email fatigue. So, and I say this lovingly. You and I are seeing it because we monitor what you and I are doing. The average person is not changing their behavior dramatically in terms of how many content creators they follow. So the fact that they happen to land on your email or your website and now you're offering email, and the fact that everybody else is now offering email and that the emails all may seem the same, I guess all I can tell you is I've been doing this for 7 years now, and the biggest of the bigs and the smallest of the smalls all get really good results here. I just don't think, I think the email fatigue that you may be experiencing is what we are all experiencing as content creators who follow each other because we are seeing everybody else do the same thing. That is not a reason to shy away from this at all. It's actually more of an indication that this is working. Until you go do it to the level that I'm talking about, and then it stops working, then I think that you've got the opportunities. All right. So I guess that would be my little rah-rah for you in terms of it's very common. We look at what everybody else is doing. I'm signed up for, I probably get more food emails than anybody else on the planet, arguably. So I definitely see it. And there's a lot of times where I'm like, I came up with that subject line, and I'm sure I did back in 2018 or whatever. The odds are that I saw somebody else had it and I used it. Yeah, I regurgitated that one. So, all right. Anybody else have any questions? If you do, unmute.
Matt, you had mentioned earlier you totally bashed Slickstream and said how much you hated it and that nobody should use it. And so what everybody asked was, what do you recommend? Like you mentioned Hubbub, you mentioned obviously Cultivate does their own. You were doing it for your clients as well. Slickstream is a great plug and play option, but yes, it has limitations. I've also toyed with Hubbub and I've also noticed some limitations in the Send. What do you actually recommend right now without completely overwhelming everybody?
I don't even want to. If you don't have it, go set up Slickstream.
Absolutely.
Okay.
1000%.
If you're wanting to make some minor tweaks, then consider a tool like Hubbub that allows you to place it in different places on your post.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to customize the template that when people what you send back, because Slickstream it's very basic and elementary with what they send, and you can't really customize it. So if you want to have any customization of those two main important things of user experience, then that would be my suggestion: is try a different approach or have it custom designed for you, based on it's definitely worth the investment if you have some cool thing. For example, one of my clients has a developer in the team, and they custom built it. So it's actually tapping into their recipe catalog and related posts. And as a per recipe, it knows which posts are already related, and it adds those in there. So it's a much more custom experience,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah. What I would also tell you is that if you haven't done so, extend the Save This Recipe experience. So whatever that one thing that they get, what's next? An easy thing is my 10 most saved recipes. Something that gives you an excuse to immediately quick start guide come back to them with a few emails in a row. Because there's high user intent if they use Save This Recipe. High user intent. They're likely to go make it. So you want to follow up with them some way, somehow, really fast. Don't just let it be save this recipe onto my Forever series. If you're doing that, that'd be great. Many of you aren't. But save this recipe onto my weekly new recipes. You can do better than that. Was that an answer that will appease you?
I think it's definitely answered everybody. Yeah. And I'm sorry, Wrapped, if he did not bash Slickstream. I'm just going to say that. He's all for it.
I'm all for it. Yes.
Slight hyperbole there.
I just have a question about the expanding on the save the recipe, which I'm like, haven't implemented that yet, but I'm going to. But the thing is it's tagged with a generic save this. Like, should I go crazy and tag it specifically? I mean, how would you set up that? Because it's not as specific. Or am I going to be specific?
Are you using
like
Slickstream?
Yeah.
And then you have to go generic.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't.
Can I tag it and I can't tag it in Kit?
Well, I don't think you can tag which recipe it is. Does it pass the recipe?
Yeah.
I don't think it does. So
no. Sorry.
That's another thing that when I built the code, that I would pass the recipe into Kit so you know which one they signed up for. Hubbub will do that as well. So if that's something you want to do and that's worth your time, but at the bare minimum, Shauna, if you haven't done that, then do create a simple series that's something along the lines of, here's my 5 most commonly saved recipes. Here's our family's favorites.
Perfect.
Here's 5 secret ways that we use the Ninja Creamy, whatever.
Yeah, got it. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right. I knew the questions in this group would be like intense. I'm gonna wear more protective garments tomorrow. Anybody have any other questions? All right. Let us go and let us convene again tomorrow with our emails in hand, written and ready, lovingly crafted so that I can make fun of you all. It'll be wonderful. All right. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.